Today we're going to talk about getting the most out of Windows 8 for your business. In this video we're going to spend some time going around Windows 8 so that you don't have to spend your time splunking around trying to find the different options and what they're going to do for you. To start with, when you first log into Windows 8, you're going to end up at the start screen. It looks like this. You're going to find some tiles that indicate your applications and one specific tile that says desktop. If you click on it, you'll get to this desktop area where you're used to seeing all of your stuff. The other thing you're going to find is that if you go to the corners, the top right hand corner will bring up the Charms button, and it also has a start button here. Or if you go to the upper left hand corner and pull downwards, you can see all the applications that are running. We'll spend some time with both of those in a little bit. To start with though, let's head to the start screen. To do this, I'm going to go down to the start button in the lower left hand corner of my screen. When I click it, it takes me to the start screen. If I go over to my name and click, I can do things like lock and sign out. I can also switch account from this button. To get back to the desktop, I'm just going to go down and click on desktop. This takes me back to the normal desktop infrastructure, the one that we're used to seeing. And since I'm running PowerPoint right now, that's where you'll see the slides that I'm going through. Next, we're going to spend some time talking about getting organized. You see, in order to get around, you're going to have to be able to find your apps. You may want to group them. You're definitely going to want to be able to create new tiles on the start screen, and you're also going to need to know how to get back to the desktop as quickly as possible. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is finding your programs. There's a couple of ways to do this. The first one is you can go up to the right hand corner of the screen and then pull down to this search button. When you do it, the search menu will pop up and you can type in things like Excel. And then if you click on it, it'll open Excel and you'll be up and running. Hitting the escape key makes everything disappear, and hitting it a second time makes the search area disappear. The other way that you can do it is you can go back to the start screen. Again, we can do that by clicking on the start button in the lower left hand corner. Then, once here, you can type in the name of the application that you're looking for. Notice I didn't click anything, I just started typing, and it brought up the search area right away so that we could get to it. Pressing escape makes it go away. To get back to the desktop, I'm just going to click this desktop button, and now I'm back to where I started on the desktop of my computer. The next thing you may want to do is create groups. To do that, you're going to go and you're going to click on the start button to get back to our main area, and then you can take whichever application you're looking to move into a new group, you can click on it and drag it to that new group. So I'm just going to do that with Notepad. I'm holding the mouse button down, and now I'm going to drag to the right. Notice that divider bar comes up, and I'm going to release. This creates a new group with Notepad in it. I can also bring that back and put it back in my original group, and now I have just the two groups, utilities and productivity. Let's go back and move Notepad to its own group again, and I can right click on it, and once I do that I can do things like adding a name. And this will show up at the top so that I can have all of my groups labeled. Notice I've already labeled utilities, productivity, and now docs. I'm just going to click and drag Notepad back, and that docs menu disappears. I'm going to hit the desktop button to go back to the desktop. And now we're going to talk about creating new tiles. You see, once in a while, you're going to install a new application and you're going to want to be able to access that application in the future. The other thing you may want to be able to do is you may want to find an app and create a tile out of it. To do that, I'm going to go and I'm going to click the Windows button again. That'll bring me back to the start screen. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to add a tile for Google Chrome. There's a couple of ways that I can go about doing that. The first one is I can take the mouse and I can go down here and click on this down arrow that shows up as soon as I move the mouse. Then I can hunt through this list for Google Chrome. I can right click on it, and that'll pop up a context menu at the bottom of the screen. Here I can choose Pin to Start. which then puts Google Chrome on my start menu. Notice it put it in its own group here. Let's take that tile and let's move it over to the productivity group. I just grabbed it, clicked on it, and now I'm dragging it over to productivity. From here, I can also right click and do those same things, but now I have the choice to unpin from start bar. I also have the ability to resize it. I can do this and make it a small icon so that I can fit more of them in place. Notice I've used this methodology to stack all of my applications over on the left-hand side, from Firefox to Excel, and on the right-hand side I have iTunes bigger, followed around by all these other applications in smaller windows. Why is this so important? When you go to the start screen, you're going to want to be able to get to your applications quickly and efficiently. The whole point here is to not spend your time hunting around for your different application, be able to get to it and get to work. To remove Google Chrome, I'm just going to right click on it again, go to unpin from start bar, and now it's gone from my start bar. It is, of course, still installed on my machine. Let's go back to the desktop. We just spent some time going from the start screen back to the desktop. Let's review it. So to get to the start screen, there are 3 ways. 1, I can click the start button down the left-hand corner. 2, I can go up to the right-hand corner and then slide down to the start button. Or 3, I can hit the Windows button on my actual keyboard. That's the one that's one over from the spacebar and it looks like a little Windows icon. Once I'm here though, I may want to get back to the desktop, and there's a couple of ways to do that. The first one is to just simply click on desktop and it takes us right here. Now remember, the desktop is kind of like its own space. Notice that PowerPoint is running on the desktop here, and this is the only way for me to get to it. Let's go back to the start area. Once I'm here, another option to get to the desktop is to right click on the start button and choose desktop. This works from everywhere. Finally, I can do the Windows key and the Windows logo key and the D key to get to the desktop. This is handy if I'm in an application, a modern application, or a tiled application. Let's take a look. To see what applications are running, I can go up to the upper left-hand corner and I can pull downwards. Here I can see Evernote Touch is running, Photos are running, and the Store is running. Notice that PowerPoint doesn't show up in this list. That's because PowerPoint is a desktop application and it runs in the typical desktop area of the background. To see all of the applications stacked up, you can do an Alt key, hold it down, and press the Tab key. Here, you'll see the different applications along with the desktop that you can go to at any time. So let's go back into the running application. So if I go up to the top upper left, hover, then pull downwards, I see this list. I'm going to go to Evernote Touch. Once I've done that, I'm inside a modern application. In modern applications, I no longer have the start bar down at the bottom of the screen, and I no longer have all of my different applications to go down and click on. So it can be a little confusing at first. To get to the start button, if you just go and hover in the bottom left-hand corner, it'll pop back up. I can right click and I can hit desktop. I can also do this just by clicking the Windows and the D key. One other thing is if you right click anywhere in the application, if there are context options, they'll show up at the bottom of the screen. So let's do the Window key D and back to the desktop. All right, that's it for some basic navigation and getting you organized using the new start screen.